and welcome to the 6th episode of LGBTQIA+, Heroes, Icons, Legends, and Events. This series of programs covers a wide variety of topics, such as pride, astronaut Sally Ride, activist Marsha P. Johnson, and entertainers Freddie Mercury, RuPaul, and Laverne Cox. Today we'll talk about the life and legacy of Harvey Milk. Harvey Bernard Milk was born on May 22, 1930, in the New York City suburb of Woodmere. His small, middle-class Jewish family founded a neighborhood synagogue, and they were also well known in their community for their volunteer work and civic engagement. His parents, William and Minerva Milk, served in the U.S. Navy during World War I. Harvey and his older brother Robert worked at Milk's, the family department store. Harvey's nickname as a child was Glimpy, after a character in a series of early 1940s films. He was teased because of his big nose, ears, and feet, and he was also known as the class clown. Harvey knew he was gay by the time he started high school at Bayshore High School in Bayshore, New York. He was a bright, popular student who had a flair for drama, and he had a wide range of interests, including opera and sports. He often traveled alone to New York City to attend operas. In his high school yearbook, he was described as Glimpy Milk, and they say women are never at a loss for words. Harvey graduated in 1947. He attended the New York State College for Teachers, now known as the State University of New York in Albany, New York, where he studied math and history. After graduating college in 1951, Harvey enlisted in the Navy. He attended Officer Candidate School in Newport, Rhode Island, and served as a diving officer for a submarine rescue ship during the Korean War. He was later based in San Diego, California as a diving instructor. Harvey resigned from the Navy in 1955 after his sexual orientation was questioned. Harvey returned to New York and worked several jobs. He taught public school on Long Island, then worked as a stock analyst in New York City, and he was a production associate for Broadway musicals including Jesus Christ Superstar and Hair. He became actively involved in politics during the late 1960s and early 1970s, and he protested against the Vietnam War. After several failed romantic relationships, Harvey met Scott Smith, who was 18 years his junior, and began a new relationship and a new chapter in his life. Harvey and Scott left New York City and traveled across the country to California. They lived off of their savings as they spent long days sightseeing and camping with their adopted dog, the Kid. They finally settled in San Francisco and used their last $1,000 to open a camera shop on Castro Street in the heart of the city's gay community. Neither of them knew much about photography, but Harvey loved the idea of having their own business underneath the apartment they rented. The sign in the window of the shop said, "Yes, we are very open." After years of being closeted, Harvey was very active in the gay community in San Francisco. He felt that the only way to make change was from the inside. In 1973, he decided to run for a position on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, the legislative body within the city and county of San Francisco. He lost, but he became a force to be reckoned with in the local political scene. He and a few other business owners in the neighborhood founded the Castro Village Association, the first such organization in the country to promote LGBT businesses. Harvey was president of the organization, and he began to call himself the mayor of Castro Street. Harvey traded his long hair and jeans for a short haircut and suit, and he ran again in 1975 for a position on the Board of Supervisors. Again, he lost, but he had established himself as the political spokesman for the Castro's gay community. Mayor George Moscone appointed him to the city's Board of Permit Appeals, which made Harvey the first openly gay city commissioner in the country. Unfortunately for Harvey, Scott had grown tired of the political campaigning, and when the 1975 election was over, he moved out. Harvey lost not only his partner, but his campaign manager. In 1977, Harvey easily won the election and was inaugurated as a San Francisco City County Supervisor on January 9, 1978. His election was an important victory for the LGBT community and a personal triumph as well. Harvey made national and international headlines. He was an advocate for the LGBT community as well as women, senior citizens, and racial and ethnic communities. Harvey worked with Mayor Mascone to improve city services for the Castro district, including library services and policing. He also sponsored an ordinance to require dog owners to pick up their pets' poop. The Pooper Scooper law was covered by local and national press and earned Harvey the most fan mail in his political career. Harvey spoke out on state and national issues that affected the LGBT community. One of these issues was discrimination based on sexual orientation. At the time, Christian fundamentalist singer Anita Bryant had successfully campaigned to defeat legislation in the state of Florida which had made discrimination based on sexual orientation illegal. California State Senator John Briggs was impressed with her campaign, and he spearheaded the initiative that would ban LGBT people from teaching in California public schools. He claimed privately that he had nothing against gays, saying, "It's politics, just politics." Proposition 6, as the bill was known, was protested by Harvey Milk and the gay community. Attendance at gay pride marches and festivals dramatically increased in the summer of 1978, probably due to Proposition 6. Harvey wanted to create a symbol of unity for the LGBT community, so he commissioned artist Gilbert Baker to design a rainbow flag. Harvey attended the Gay Freedom Day parade in San Francisco. The prototype flags flew at the parade. He gave an impassioned speech that, according to the San Francisco Examiner newspaper, ignited the crowd. He began, "My name is Harvey Milk, and I want to recruit you. I want to recruit you for the fight to preserve your democracy from the John Briggs and the Anita Bryants who are trying to constitutionalize bigotry. Gay brothers and sisters, what are you going to do about it? You must come out." Harvey became a target for increasingly violent death threats. Concerned that he was a target for assassination, he made a recording stating his thoughts and whom he wanted to succeed him if he were killed, saying, "If a bullet should enter my brain, let that bullet destroy every closet door." Harvey had no way to know that his biggest threat was someone he knew. Dan White, a conservative city supervisor, was threatened by Harvey's popularity and liberal agenda. He opposed every initiative that Harvey supported. Proposition 6 was defeated on November 7, 1978. It lost by more than 1 million votes. On November 10, 1978, Dan White resigned his position on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. A few days later, he asked Mayor Mascone to reinstate him. The mayor initially agreed, but finally decided to appoint a more liberal candidate. On November 27, 1978, Dan White's replacement was due to be announced. Dan White snuck into City Hall via a basement window, armed with a police-issue weapon. He first went to Mayor Mascone's office and shot him 4 times, killing him instantly. He then went down the hall to Harvey's office and asked to speak with him. Harvey followed him into Dan's old office. Dan blocked the door and then shot Harvey 5 times. Harvey Milk was dead at 48 years old. That night, tens of thousands of people formed a spontaneous candlelight march from Castro Street to City Hall, and many people left flowers on the steps of City Hall. The bodies of Mayor Mascone and Harvey Milk were brought to the rotunda of City Hall, where thousands of people paid their respects. 6,000 mourners attended Mayor Mascone's funeral at St. Mary's Cathedral. 2 services were held for Harvey, one at the Temple Emmanuel, and the other a joyous wake at the San Francisco Opera House. Dan White was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. He was eligible for the death penalty due to the recent passage of legislation that allowed death or life in prison for the murder of a public official. The jury for his trial consisted of white middle-class citizens. Gays and ethnic minorities were excused from the pool of jurors. His defense attorney argued that Dan was depressed over the loss of his job and Mayor Mascone's refusal to reinstate him. The attorney also claimed that Dan had binged on junk food the night before, which further exacerbated his mental state. The media referred to it as the Twinkie defense. Dan was acquitted of first-degree murder and was convicted of voluntary manslaughter. A mob of more than 3,000 people rioted at City Hall the night of the verdict. The White Night Riots, as they would be called, lasted several hours. Dan White would serve just over 5 years in prison, and he was released in 1984. He died of suicide in 1985. Although he lived in San Francisco for only 8 years and served only 11 months in office, Harvey made a huge impact. His beloved nephew Stuart came out the night Harvey was murdered, saying, "Earlier that year, Uncle Harvey and I had a 3-hour talk at a family gathering. He talked to me about being your authentic self. I was just a teenager, but it stayed with me." Stuart is co-founder and board president of the Harvey Milk Foundation and a prominent advocate for LGBTQIA+ rights. On August 12, 2009, Stuart accepted the Presidential Medal of Freedom in his uncle's honor from President Barack Obama. Also in 2009, Stuart successfully lobbied to establish May 22nd, Harvey's birthday, as Harvey Milk Day in the state of California. Harvey Milk Day is a day for schools to educate students about the life of Harvey Milk and his work to end LGBTQIA+ discrimination. Randy Shilts, a journalist and the first openly gay reporter for the San Francisco Chronicle, wrote his first book about Harvey Milk. The Mayor of Castro Street, The Life and Times of Harvey Milk, was published in 1982 and is considered to be groundbreaking as the first biography of a gay politician. Harvey's life was immortalized in 2 films. The Times of Harvey Milk is a 1984 documentary featuring interviews with Harvey's friends and supporters. It is one of the first documentaries to address gay life in America. Milk, starring Sean Penn and James Franco, was released in 2008 and is a biographical film about Harvey's life. Both films were successful and earned several awards. Harvey was the first LGBT politician to receive the honor of a U.S. Postal Service commemorative postal stamp. It was released in 2014. In July 2019, Harvey Milk Terminal 1 opened at San Francisco International Airport. It's the world's first airport terminal named after a leader of the LGBT community. 2 schools have been named for Harvey Milk. Harvey Milk High School is a public school in the East Village in New York City, designed for, but not limited to, gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender young people, as well as those questioning their sexuality and gender identity. Harvey Milk Civil Rights Academy in San Francisco is a small elementary school in the Castro neighborhood. The school's mission is to teach tolerance and nonviolence and to celebrate diversity. The rainbow flag commissioned by Harvey for Gay Freedom Day in 1978 endures as the symbol for LGBTQIA+ pride. Also known as the Pride Flag, its design has changed over the years, but it still symbolizes Harvey's dream: equality, pride, love, and hope. To know more about Harvey Milk and other topics discussed in this presentation, go to our website, gwinnettpl.org, and check out the following suggested items: Queer, There, and Everywhere by Sarah Prager, Pride, the Story of Harvey Milk and the Rainbow Flag by Rob Sanders, and Who Was Harvey Milk by Corinne Grenapal. Also, visit our website's digital resources to discover Canopy, our new streaming service. Canopy has a wide selection of films and documentaries about Harvey Milk, Pride, and other LGBTQIA+ topics. Thanks for watching.